Hello, everybody, and welcome to Ring Post Radio, a special bonus year in review episode. Holy crap! There's a shit ton of viewers in the viewers on the thing. I
That's
didn't
how
even
you
notice that
drive them
number.
off. You don't acknowledge them.
I acknowledged them, and then 3 people left.
Told you.
Anyways, thank you everybody for joining us this special bonus episode of Ring Post Radio. We are discussing for this episode the 2023 year in wrestling. We're going to go through as many promotions as we can the next 2 hours to talk about what we thought of the year that we watched, what we saw, maybe reasons why we didn't watch certain things, and then sort of maybe our expectations or things about the 2024 year calendar season for these various promotions. And then I guess whether or not we're going to cover them in this upcoming year of Ring Post Radio. I am your host, Ryan Knightsey, in my newly renovated office.
Your background's quite boring.
We just put in the furniture yesterday, so there's nothing on the walls. I have this lamp that eventually will be useful, but for right now, it just blows out my background and it is terrible. But hopefully, that being said, hopefully my audio and the show's audio is all good. Please let us know if you're watching us online on YouTube or Twitter or X or whatever. Please leave a comment throughout the show for various thoughts, but immediately if the audio sounds good. I'm your host, Ryan Knightsey. Like I said, with me as always, the man, the myth, the legend, the man that's been awake for, been asleep for 3 hours in the past day. Scotty Edwards. Scotty, how are you doing today?
We're way past the day of only having 3 hours of sleep. We're at like 30, 40, I don't know. I'm exhausted. I can't believe I said yes to doing this.
You said yes to doing this knowing that you'll be awake forever.
Listen, I thought I'd sleep a lot more than I did. But here I am to talk about things that I have to really think about. So that's troubling. All I can remember is like the 4 shows I've watched over the past day.
Yeah.
And you're asking me to remember an entire year of professional wrestling for about 25 different companies. So this should be a blast.
Yeah, it should be a blast and a half and 2 more halves.
This is a very important episode, by the way. Like, for anyone that doesn't know, that hasn't been here for this episode, this is where we decide what the hell we're talking about for the rest of the year.
Yeah, it's important that we get to this episode very early on, as much as
fights will happen.
Fights will happen.
Hustles will happen over certain promotions.
I'm going to be really at bat for NWA this year.
That's disgusting. I can't believe you said that out loud.
I don't think that's going to happen. I think we can immediately cross it off the board anyways. But I guess we'll talk about it still. It's always an interesting episode to get. I think like this is an episode that really gets like our full. And I like doing these episodes not just because it's like us figuring out what we want to cover and letting our audience know what we plan on covering in the new year. Sure. Obviously, if something comes up or a promotion gets hot, we'll talk about it, I guess. But otherwise, I also think it's one of our few, if not our only opportunities for you and I to like get our like total viewpoint of all wrestling and like literally take a temperature of how our feelings are of various promotions. We kind of dip in and out throughout the year, but this is like the only time where you and I can really sit down and talk about like, hey, what do we think about, I don't know, CMLL? Hey, what do we think about Tokyo Joshi Pro? Like, what do we think about all these things? This is the few times of the year we get to do that, and I really enjoy these episodes.
Yeah, I do too. It's one that I look forward to every year. It's like the kind of the benchmark to kick off our year. This year, however, we had to kind of change it. Usually we do this as like a normal episode, but the realization of how much wrestling is happening in January made us realize we probably shouldn't shoehorn it onto the end of the same episode that has Wrestle Kingdom and many other wrestling events and so on and so forth. So here we are. If you're listening live, thank you. If you're listening on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or whatever, or wherever you listen to your podcast, thank you as well. We have a lot more viewers now than we did the last time we did this episode over a year ago. So buckle up,
get into it.
Be fun. When I say something bad about your favorite promotion, I'm sorry,
and we probably will. or at least have a
Ryan
frank
definitely
discussion.
will, unless you're a big MLW fan,
Yeah.
which
If you're a major leaguer like me, yeah, no.
total nonstop Ryan. Actually, now I forgot that's your 2024 name, but
mhm.
I'll give you a chance.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it, Scotty. Well, like we said, we're talking about a lot of different various topics here. So I guess if you're listening along, watching along to us live while we record this, whether it be YouTube or Twitter, we would appreciate it. Give us a comment about your thoughts about various promotions throughout the
Thumbs
years.
up.
Thumbs up if you
want to send us
agree.
money? That'd be pretty sick.
I also agree with that. But also, I guess if there's any other promotions you want us to cover this year, is that something we can also ask in the chat?
You
We
say
would appreciate
NWA,
that.
it's not happening.
We'll discuss it in the moment when those things. I do have a list in front of me of 18 promotions I can come up with of varying degrees of discussion that have sort of been on our radar in the past. So I figured that would be a good starting point. If there are any new ones that people want to talk about or bring up to the table, I guess we'll get to that. But I mean, without further to do, is there any other? I don't know. Any other
starting
things
with the
you
hottest company in the world today?
That is right. We are going to talk about AAA to open up our discussion.
Oh.
You said the hottest company, right?
I didn't say alphabetical order.
You said the one that generates the most heat, right? That's what you said.
Oh God. Oh, this is how you send everyone away. By the way, just want.
Oh, this is how I do it. This is how we do it.
I can't. I don't have a noise bite for that. This is how. Yeah. See, no. This is bad. This is bad.
That's fair. A great start. There's no.
Are we actually starting with AAA?
No. We'll start with.
I
think we'll start with WWE. That's the granddaddy of them all, right?
That's what I said. The hottest promotion in the world today. The Beast is back, and not Brock Lesnar.
I was about to say. So WWE. Let's open up this conversation. So 2023 year in review. WWE. The most newsworthy year of all years. They get sold to TKO they get sold to Endeavor, merge with the UFC, become TKO. As the year goes on, we realize that Vince McMahon is further and further out of this company. Triple H and Nick Khan are fully at the helm, at the helmsley, if you will. And it's been an interesting year, I would say. We've had the Bloodline obviously dominating the stories with the start of the year with the Sami Zayn Elimination Chamber match, the Cody Rhodes WrestleMania match, the Jey Uso SummerSlam match. That I think that was sort of the turning point for a lot of their fan base here. A lot of maybe malaise, a lot of negativity as well, maybe throughout for various things. But Scotty, what do you think about WWE? How do you think WWE's 2023 year has been?
It can't be seen as anything but a complete success in terms of business, in terms of popularity, in terms of success. This company has gone from many people questioning its product just 2 years ago to its running away from pretty much any competition in every which way. I still think that they do step in front of themselves from time to time, and I think they could be even hotter than they are now. But the reality is they are as popular. They haven't been this popular since probably the Attitude Era, in all actuality, or around that time. It's record profits every place they go to. They sell out every building they go to, it feels like. And we're now heading into a time where they might have The Rock at their disposal. They have CM Punk at their disposal. They were taking victory laps the last couple months of the year, truthfully. And listen, I have many problems with WWE. We don't even, we cover a lot of wrestling on this show. WWE is probably like third most, after New Japan and AEW, I'd say, in terms of topics. But WWE, God bless them, they always have some news for us. And there was a newsworthy year, but it's a winning year for them in every which way. Like, if you have to vote promotion of the year, no no bias in there in terms of like your enjoyment. You just go off of the usual business metric, excitement, attendance, blah 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 blah. Yeah, WWE's gonna win that anyways because they're number one, but they're doing it at the highest possible level. This isn't them, 3-4 years ago selling half of an arena, right? And they have to shield half of it because it's not selling tickets. No, they're showing the entire buildings for a reason. They're very proud of what they've accomplished. And that has a lot to do with the booking changes, obviously, that we started to see at the end of last year and pretty much has taken over completely this year. I still think there are some things that aren't for me, but it's hard to say anything about WWE other than they've done everything they could have asked for and more for their fans, and they're heading into what I think could be their biggest couple months yet with the Rumble and WrestleMania.
Yeah, I think that's fairly accurate. I mean, success financially, obviously, a great year. I mean, I guess, massive success in terms of being merged with another company. Well, I guess not massive success. There were certain things of like, they merged and then they got the SmackDown deal, and that wasn't necessarily seen as a massive success. They still make a bajillion dollars off of it. So in that way, it's still a success. But yeah, it's still like very much a financial success. WWE has always been, at least for a very long time, for the past several decades. My interest in the company, I don't know. I feel like my interest in the company has certainly, from baseline to at least peaked, is kind of where I'm at. I still keep WWE at a distance. And with Vince now basically nearly, if not, nearly fully gone from the company, and Triple H booking the shows, I'm very intrigued to see how 2024 shakes out with them. And I think, I mean, before this week started, Scotty, I would have come on here and said, I think WrestleMania is sort of make or break. If they do the bloodline and they do Cody Rhodes and Cody doesn't win it again, that would have been, oh yeah, Bloom's fully off the rose. We don't really unsure. And Triple H has always had sort of a difficulties in terms of ending stories, quote unquote.
You didn't know what the Triple H was cooking?
Apparently, what Triple H was cooking, what Nick Khan was cooking, is Dwayne The Rock Johnson to probably show up at WrestleMania and face Roman, a thing that I fully thought wasn't going to happen, and now it is. 2023 is a success. I wasn't fully into it. It was a lot of weird sort of booking turmoil and weird booking things because
I'll say I was a lot more into it this year than I have been in a long time.
That's where I'm at. Is like before this year, before really SummerSlam, it was just sort of like, all right, all right, WWE doing classic WWE things. It's at least improved. Am I over the moon? Is it my favorite promotion in the universe? No.
I don't think you have one anymore, but that's fine.
Yeah. But I think that's just sort of like the wrestling style of it all. But it's certainly gotten more interesting, I guess you could say.
Yeah. But I guess if I look at it like what we actually talk about, there are bright points, right? There are the Cody Rhodes aspect, the Gunther aspect, CM Punk and the never-ending story that comes with him. Like that makes the new year interesting. We have some people in the chat. I Love Dog said, I thought WWE Tag Division was the best tag division in wrestling. I can't argue against that because I think tag team wrestling was so weird in 2023.
Yeah.
That like Kevin and Sammy did a great job.
Mm-hmm.
They got full consideration for me. There's also, Damian Priest and Finn Balor did a very good job as champions for a lot of the year. The Usos, obviously. Truthfully, they had one of my top tag matches of the year, WrestleMania, between the Usos and Kevin and Sammy. So I can't disagree with that. We have Hear You in the chat. Rock versus Roman's happy at Chamber. I don't see them do that to Cody. Well, I hope that's the way they go, but I don't have hope.
I theorized, on the latest Ring Post Radio, which of course you've heard as a listener and a fan of the show. I theorized in the last episode that, maybe all this contract extension top conversation. What if all this contract extension conversation with Cody Rhodes was simply because he's not winning at WrestleMania and they need to extend it a year? And then The Rock showed up the next day, and I was like, well, I don't know about this one anymore, Cody.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely wanted to re-sign him anyways, but yeah.
Oh, sure. Now I want to look up, when did The Rock show up on SmackDown? I want to look this up real quick.
And then the strike ended.
It went what month though? Because it was in the fall. September.
Sure. Whatever you say.
Yes, it looks like it was September. So The Rock shows up in September, so halfway through September. And then we get the report this past month about Cody getting an offer, whether or not he signs it, a contract extension offer, the next month in October. I wonder if The Rock came in, they had discussions about it for about a month. They came to a decision and signed him for the WrestleMania match. Where seemingly they might have signed him beforehand, but signed The Rock, I guess. And then they were like, hey, Cody, can we keep you for a year? Can we keep you for another year?
I think they signed. I'm guessing they signed to a longer term deal, truthfully. But I will say this. I'm very interested to talk about WWE in the new year. They have me very intrigued. And it's that time of the year where I am usually intrigued. This time of year last year, I thought actually was really good for them with the bloodline stuff. Obviously, Sami Zayn, Cody coming back. But add in this year, we have The Rock, we have CM Punk. I don't know. I'm all for the chaos. It's like there's going to be a lot of chaos. There's going to be a lot of people that are unhappy.
Yeah, sure.
And they have the big Australia show, obviously, that I think kind of will determine what WrestleMania looks like at the end of the day, one way or the other. So
yeah, ultimately, whether or not that's Rock and Roman at Perth, or
Cody, I don't know, Elimination Chamber,
could be the Elimination Chamber. I mean, there's maybe an outside chance that match is going to be Cody versus Roman, and sort of there's a Sami Zayn role of Cody Rhodes.
There's a lot of weirdness with WWE, but after such a great year, I mean, good for them.
Would WWE fans be upset if Cody wrestled Roman at Elimination Chamber and win? That ultimately completes the story.
I just think they want it at WrestleMania. I don't know if they'd have Roman lose and then face The Rock.
Well, it would be fine if he beats The Rock.
Yeah, just for me, like the other way around makes more sense. Like beating The Rock, then losing Cody, rather than losing to Cody, then beating The Rock.
That's fair. 2024 for WWE. I think another aspect that we'll talk about a lot with like AEW and a lot of these American, I guess Japan, just every promotion.
Pretty much the top ones, by the way, I should say, like WWE, AEW, they're locks for our conversations.
Yeah, we're required by wrestling law to talk about WWE. Yeah. But an interesting conversation that we can have, especially this year, is the free agency of it all. WWE is already
hate it.
WWE is already bringing in people. We're hearing these names left and right. Andrade is coming in. Naomi's coming back. Seemingly,
reportedly, like
these are reports. I believe Camille was a name that was brought up.
Strongly interested in.
Julia was reported a day of a recording about going to NXT. They already have Jade. They already
whoa! Hey, what? Huh?
What did you not hear that?
About what NXT?
Julia?
Well, yeah. When did this come out?
This came out on Twitter. Some people were tweeting about it.
Okay, whatever. I'll go find it. You keep talking.
Yeah, the current report online is that Julia. It's BWE is, I guess, the WWE Insider Twitter handle or whatever, and they reported that Julia's coming in. She's going to NXT. That was the big report that came out today, I guess. Not report, rumor there. But yeah, she's coming in. They already brought in Jade. They already brought in CM Punk, Brian Pillman Jr., I guess. And I'm sure they're going to bring in more people. And so I think they're setting themselves up for having an interesting year. I think 2024 especially is going to be. I think this will be the year of the end of the bloodline. I feel like it should be. Maybe that's my personal preference. It feels like we're bubbling up to that point, but at the same time, if it's not, I think people will be disappointed. If it does end, it's all about how it lands and all about how it works. If The Rock defeats Roman, I don't know if people will be entirely happy about that, which is weird to say because it's The Rock
stuff this year.
Right, it feels like it should be, right? It just feels like we're getting to that point. We've run its course.
We've been at that point. We've been at that point. Post WrestleMania Bloodline stuff has mostly been bad.
I would say post SummerSlam, especially.
Post SummerSlam is not real. Roman hasn't been around, but
no, but I mean that's fair. But that was the moment of the Jey Uso match where everyone was like, "Well, that stunk." Okay, what's next? Yeah, I don't know. I think they've set themselves up quite nicely to have a good year. It's just it feels
they're
like
gonna have a good year.
Oh, well, of course. My point here is in terms of my personal preference of WWE, they've set themselves up for a good year. It's just all about how it lands for a lot of their major stories. And I'm not entirely sure how they will accomplish that. Now, if The Rock, that throws a big old wrench. So I'm nervous, but I'm also like intrigued.
They have a lot of long-term things that need to be settled, right?
Yeah.
They have Gunther's title reign. They got the Bloodline. They got Rhea Ripley and wherever she's going, presumably Becky Lynch.
Mm-hmm.
They got there's a lot here that they need to decide, and that's going to set them up for the rest of the year ultimately where they go with certain things. And I think that's the exciting part because I'm actually interested in those three things. One more than the other, but they'll be fine, and I'm sure. Listen, if they deliver WrestleMania like last year, that was as entertaining as it was.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to complain.
Yeah, I mean. Even that, I mean, this is the first year of a properly Triple H led, fully Triple H led WrestleMania. Last year,
no more Omos versus Brock Lesnar, which is kind of beast actually. So
Brock Lesnar being the curtain jerker of that event, just being like, "All right, let's get out of here."
It's pretty sick though.
But yeah, I'm intrigued. They've set themselves up, and I'm intrigued by a lot of things. It's just I'm still like. We'll see how it goes. I mean, post WrestleMania season is very much who knows. And Scotty, we didn't even talk about it all. Everyone's current ticking time bomb right now is post WrestleMania. What does the post WrestleMania CM Punk of it all look like? Maybe post WrestleMania by SummerSlam or whatever, the whole company is in turmoil because CM Punk has punched, I don't know, Roman Reigns in the dick, and then it upset everybody or something. I don't know. Who knows? Who knows what that guy's gonna do?
I can't believe Julia's going to NXT. Sorry, you lost me. Let's move on for WWE. Fuck this company. I'm done with this company.
AEW, other major company, of course, that we always talk about. I mean, they're obviously a lock.
T-shirt company, whatever they like to call them.
A competitor brand? What are they?
I'll kick off AEW here. What a wild year for them, huh?
A very interesting year to say the least.
You know that meme that's like, we're so back. Oh my god, it's Doom. We're so that was this year for AEW. So many ups, so many downs. CM Punk stuff obviously was ridiculous. The Elite's
weird contract stuff and also disappearances constantly
terrible
because of that
booking,
contract stuff.
Period. Terrible booking. There's a lot to like. There's a lot to dislike. Obviously, business is whatever. When I move away from WWE, I start not caring about the business side of things anymore. I just care about the wrestling things.
Well, I can talk about the business side of AEW. The business got to a point. This is a weird thing.
It's not a hot product.
It's not a hot product. The business got financially, the ratings and ticket sales started to dip so much that they felt inclined to increase the number of pay-per-views they do a year.
I still think that's a good idea.
I still think it's a good idea. More money's more money, baby.
Might be the
Capitalism all the
hot
way.
take because I know a lot of people like the 4-5 setup for
Mhm.
AEW.
Mhm.
I think more pay-per-views has made their TV easier to write these past couple of months. It's made certain things more exciting. Now we're going to see what it feels like to go back to the long-term build of Revolution and what does TV look like with that, right?
Yeah.
But listen, at the end of the day, they still did what they did with All In, and I don't think anything else matters for them. Like, that's their shining prize. You know how I know it's their shining prize? I have to freaking hear about the next one every freaking week on TV.
That is true. That is true.
Every single week, which I get. I get that you want people to buy tickets because the tickets are already on sale. But hey,
Mhm.
you know what? You got 8 months to build to that damn thing. Give it a break. Push the pay-per-views you have coming up that are, I don't know, in a few months, sooner. Revolution's, pretty much sold out. But actually it has sold out once. They keep adding tickets, so it keeps selling out again and again and again. But my point remains, lots of ups and downs. I do want to talk
What are some of their booking ups?
booking up Swerve Strickland. I
Okay.
don't know
Late
if
in the
there's
year.
I don't know if there's a better rise in this company this year than Swerve Strickland.
Mhm.
He is a bona fide superstar. He is someone that feels undeniable as your next or second to next AEW World Champion. I think
They
that's
really hinted at it this past Dynamite too.
yeah. The other booking up, the decision to roll with the Continental Classic, obviously. That is what sets AEW apart from WWE. That is what the competitor brand is supposed to be in many of our eyes.
Mhm.
Other booking ups,
I liked early in the year Adam Page and John Moxley. I
yeah,
think they were given a bad deal with Adam Page's injury, but they were able to
yeah,
flip it and turn it into something exciting
yeah,
that
yeah.
ultimately led to Blood and Guts. So that
Well,
was, I think I enjoyed that.
they made some great signings this year. Like, listen, they are going to be able to roll out a lot of these signings in the new year and say, look at what we did, right?
Mhm.
We just saw Mariah May make her debut. She's obviously going to be a superstar. I've been
Yeah.
saying it on this damn show for months. So much so that I had some people reach out to me. Oh yeah, she's awesome. I was like, no, I wasn't lying. I was like, you think I was kidding about Mariah May? No, she is the one. They signed Will Ospreay, who was set to be the biggest free agent of 2024 before he could even get there. Obviously, he's not around yet, but that was a big deal. They signed a lot of talent,
Yep.
and there's a real chance that when we do this next year, we're talking about the biggest free agent signing they've had other than CM Punk. But until that happens, we'll wait and see.
Nick
But
Nemeth, of course, is what we're talking about.
no, 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 no. Nick Nemeth is in better place than AEW. Better spot for us zigzaggers out there that are very much into the return of Dolph Ziggler. But there's been downs, right? And it starts and ends with MJF.
A,
It
what a
all goes with that.
fascinating year. A fascinating year. I would say for the most part, a really good year in ring. Right? I mean, you have the Omega match, you have the Danielson match. Those are the first two things that jump out to me. What else jumps out to me? I'd say it's a really good year.
You didn't like. I understand this. Not everyone liked the Adam Cole story, but initially that was red hot and the most popular story of the year. And then it went all to shit when he got hurt, but it was carrying them. It made people excited. I have to give MJF that credit. But there are so many other bumpy parts of this reign where by the end of August, people wanted to see him lose the belt.
Yeah.
That isn't what you want in your top babyface. And ultimately, that's what he became, was the top babyface in this company. And now he's out. Now he's injured. He's not going to be back anytime soon, presumably. So we're in an interesting spot. More the devil stuff, obviously, we've talked about this, was not a good buildup for me. at least. I did not love it. Ultimately, the reveal was, it was fine. And we'll see how they follow through. We're still kind of in the midst of that. I think this is a great point from Hear You. I need AEW, specifically Tony Khan, to promote these shows locally. That is so simple, such a easy thing to do. We've seen it, right? When they went to California, they had Will Hobbs there and so on and so forth. And look what happened. They sold out that arena, the LA Forum, very well. I feel like the reason their attendance is lacking in more organized women's division. We'll get to that when we look forward to 2024, because boy, oh boy, I made the point on Twitter. Yes, I'm just gonna make the point now. I'm already here. I made the point on Twitter yesterday. They have signed Mariah May. They have signed Deonna Purrazzo. They have Megan Bayne coming back eventually.
I think it's fair to say at some point in 2024 she'll return.
Some point in 2024. What was the I know what main name I'm not saying, but I'm trying to look for the fifth name. God, why did I tweet so much?
I know this isn't the fifth name, but I imagine they've pushed her a lot recently. I feel like they might bring in full, as a tier 0 or whatever, Queen Amanada, and she's a good hand.
Great get for not only depth, but I think she's someone that's quite solid. Just based on Yuka Sakazaki, who's obviously coming in, I think. And of course Mercedes Moné. That 5 plus what you already have in like a Jamie Hayter, Chris Statlander, Willow Nightingale, Athena. Hello. I know we don't get to talk about her because she's never in AEW, but that's obviously a big deal. Like, those names should make for not only a more organized women's division, but it has the potential to be the best in America if you utilize it the right way. Now, it's a big if. It's a big if.
Well, let's talk about that, because that was the big thing I want to talk about in terms of the cons of MJF as well. We talk about how great of a roster they can easily have, or they're potentially going to have in the new year.
They do have a great roster on paper.
Sure. We can talk about, the likes of Takeshita and Hobbs and all these other people that are around. The problem is that, at least at the past second half of the year especially, a lot of those people kind of got pushed to the wayside to make more room for MJF and the Devil and Adam Cole, for timeless Tony Storm, for Roddy Strong. We're still getting bits like that. I mean, freaking Action Andretti has turned into the ultimate underdog jobber guy, into a guy that drinks water fast. That's his gimmick, folks.
If it helps, I don't think he's all that good, but
sure. But now his gimmick is, I just drink water really super fast.
I also drink water really super fast. Do you want me to pull off an Action Andretti?
Can you? You can do that?
I once was able to, but I don't know if I could do it with people watching or anything.
You have stage fright.
I do have stage fright. Sorry, guys. I don't have a full bottle of water either, so it's probably cheating.
It's less impressive.
I have been able to do it, not as quick as he does. But anyways, I think you're right. Here, the problem is start and stop. Start and stop. It happens with everyone. Konosuke Takeshita beat Kenny Omega twice in the middle of the ring, and then he disappeared from television. He wasn't injured. He wasn't even in Japan.
But I'm not even going to say the problem this year is start and stop, because he's had that issue since the beginning of the company is start and stop.
Right, but we're talking about
the problem. The problem is that
whatever the frick number.
Yeah, the start and stop has always been there. The problem is that for some reason, let's just say maybe the world champion, people got more interested about stuff that got put on TV was more sports entertainment based and less pro wrestling based. The moment, and we can pinpoint the exact moment. It's the moment where MJF stopped being the heel and started being the babyface. The moment it felt like he started to put forward this idea. I mean, ultimately, the first moment is the fatal 4-way of the 4 pillars. That whole feud rivalry did not work out, and then you go into the Adam Cole feud of them feuding together, and then you do the blind eliminator tournament, and that's when you start turning MJF face and doing all this stuff. So as soon as that starts happening, you start getting an influx of these sports entertainment characters. When some people get stops and starts, other people seemingly never get stops and starts, and they just keep going. they get the interest of Tony Khan or whatever, and they go. MJF feels obviously never got a stop and start. Roddy Strong never really got a stop and start, was on TV pretty much every week. Timeless Tony Storm never really got a stop and start, really. There was another person I had in my head. I mean, not really a stop and start in terms of their stuff, but Sky Blue, someone was on your television literally almost every single week, to maybe 2, maybe 3
50
times.
50 title matches after losing a smaller title match to then challenge for the world title.
Interest got pushed towards this MJF sports entertainment ideology. And whether that is an MJF as champion, whether that is an increase of specific quote unquote writers, producers, whatever in the back room, in terms of giving booking ideas, whatever that may be, whether maybe it's the increase in popularity by WWE when you want to go for a similar idea, whatever it may be, AEW leaned heavily into that this year. And if we had to bring it over into 2024 expectations, I don't know exactly where my expectations are for AEW next year because, the Continental Classic was great. We got this report from Tony Khan saying, you know what? I ran my experiments. He was in a lab. He was cooking one night in the lab, and he got his control experiments of the crappy sports entertainment stuff and the cool experimental stuff with the freaking Continental Classic. He did all the experiments, and he was like, we need more sports-based stuff. And then we showed up on Dynamite this past Wednesday, Scotty, and in the first 20 minutes was just talking. And I get it. You're coming off of the promo, the Devil reveal. You want to do an Adam Cole promo to start off, but 20 minutes of just talking and then ending with a security brawl, pull apart. That's WWE isms right there.
That's pro wrestling, though.
I know that's pro wrestling, but it's pro wrestling, especially a pro wrestling of the last 20 years. And the last 20 years of American pro wrestling has been WWE central. So that's my point is you want this. They talk about the sports-based presentation, and then the first thing I see that's like, all new year, let's get into it. And I'm like, I really did not enjoy the show. And now I don't really know how I feel about AEW going in. I'm not with the freakazoid I once was. I am sitting like
aren't, because I think people enjoyed that show.
I am Heisman stiff arming them a little bit and being like, hold your horses. I was at a point earlier this year where I'm watching Rampage and Dynamite weekly. I was at a point at some point this year where I was like, all right, let's watch Collision as well. Let's do 5 hours, right?
Collision should be the one you're watching, to be fair. But
yeah. Well, at this point, that's probably true.
That's the most wrestling-based show.
That's definitely true. But my point being, at one point I was there, and at this point I'm like, and going to New Year, I'm like, well, I'm fully dropping Rampage. I'm fully gonna drop that. Collision, Dynamite. We'll see how I feel, I guess, at the moment.
Yeah.
I don't know. They have all this promise of the new year. The women's division looks like it might have a lot of promise. I don't know. Will Ospreay's coming in. CM Punk's finally gone. The Elite might be doing something, or they were supposed to be doing something, I guess, to start this year. Adam Page looked great last Wednesday. They're promising ideas. It's just, I don't know. I don't know anymore.
I think I'm much more excited about the prospects of the new year than you are. I didn't dislike that episode as much as you did. I thought the first hour was pretty missable outside of the Mariah May debut. But
I will say I was not into it. I tweeted out that it felt to me like a pretty good Monday Night Raw episode with one AEW match inserted into it. That being, of course, Darby Allin versus Takeshita. And I saw that and I was like, more of this. Why did this not start the show? Why aren't we doing all these sort of things all the time?
Like, to me, it was starting off the year fresh, not in a full out mission. And I think that's going to be interesting to see from here because obviously they have the champions in place. They have the wrestlers in place, and we'll have to wait and see. I for once am more intrigued by AEW than you are, which probably the first time ever on this podcast. But I think it takes like one big show, one great show for you to get locked back in, truthfully. Like one knockout Dynamite. Next week, I mean, is the anniversary show. Maybe that's the one. But I think overall, like for interest levels, they just need to be consistent with booking, and that is their biggest thing. Be consistent with booking. Be consistent with who you want to be on TV. If you want to be the same competitor, sure. Like I'm fine with promos. Listen, promos are part of professional wrestling.
Sure.
But at the same time, I also want great professional wrestling, which AEW I know can give me on a week to week basis. And if you're not giving that to me on a week to week basis, that will be my biggest problem.
They have quite the roster to be able to do that too.
They have arguably the best roster in the world. When it comes down to it, like talent usually rises, right? And I think there's a lot of directions they're going in the new year with Swerve, with Daniel Garcia, with Samoa Joe, with Mariah May. Those are all newer names. And I think that excites me a lot about the prospect of AEW. And with all the rumored names coming in, you're not going to have MJF on TV for a while. So,
yeah.
I think that's going to, when someone's away, it makes the heart grow fonder of someone. And I think that's what's going to happen probably with MJF. Him taking time off, I think will ultimately be a good thing.
Sure.
I really do. Because I think when he comes back, it'll be very different. It'll be,
I don't know. Do you think MJF was successful as a babyface?
No.
And that's my concern, is that he's going to come back as a babyface, which was unsuccessful.
I say that, but he's going to have a lot of time to develop that character and put thought into it. And he's not going to be the world champion, so the pressure is no longer on him. I think pressure is a real thing, and he really dealt with it.
Yeah. He put a shit ton of stuff on his plate.
Yeah.
He world champion. He's doing all these storylines. He's producing movies. He's doing all this stuff nonstop.
He did too much at once.
Yeah.
And I think if he can just focus on the wrestling, he can get back to where he should be. But again, it's a lot of wait and see with AEW. There's a lot of excitement still. Like you said, Ospreay's still coming in. Mercedes Moné is reportedly on her way.
Yep.
I mean, if there's anything to spark this company, it's those two. It's like you're getting two of the best in their craft coming in and being main characters on your show. That's never a bad thing. And I'm hopeful that that's what happens for AEW in the new year, because I do know that they can be great. We've seen them be great. They have all the right pieces in line to be great. They just have to go with it.
They just have to, for lack of a better term, put their money where their fucking mouth is on these sort of things.
I also agree. I liked splitting the rosters. I really did. Like, I thought that was very unique to both shows. I know some people didn't like that. So great shout out here you. Like, I thought that was fine.
When you say splitting the rosters, what do you mean? You mean the collision of it all?
Like, I think that's what I think. It's not necessarily like a strict split, right? Like CM Punk's not going to allow this person to come here anymore. But it's like, okay, this is where, and it kind of works already, right? We have Danielson and FTR and House of Black. Like, we have the usual people on that show. We have the usual people on Dynamite. I think that will go a long way in, again, bringing some interest to these. And when they collide on their own shows, right, down the line, it'll be more fresh, it'll be more interesting. But I am hopeful enough for the new year. I'm still like obviously tentative because World's End was not all that exciting overall as a pay-per-view. It was mostly let down, but Dynamite left me a little more intrigued because of what was coming out of it, which involved Takeshita, May, Garcia, Swerve, Hangman. Like, these are the people I want to see pushed.
I had another point, but I fully forgot it. So we're just going to move on to the next promotion, I think.
AEW's locked in for next year, folks.
TNA, formerly Impact, now rechristening themselves as TNA. Total Nonstop Action is back. I think this is a sort of tough one in terms of expectation, simply because we don't really know what their footprint on TNA is going to be until their first pay-per-view, Hard to Kill. We haven't really seen anything from this now newly formed TNA until January 13th. But 2023 Impact, its final year is Impact, as sort of this third promotion in America, let's say. How do you feel like
Living in a sorry.
No, it's fine. I think they've done a fine job. I think there were points where I was like into it for sure. There were several points.
Oh, Nonstop Ryan, baby.
Yeah, of course. Look out, Garrett Kidney. There were points where I was into the show for sure. There were points where they had interesting stuff. I thought, at the start of the year, we had Josh Alexander as world champion, ending his run, got injured, and so he sort of lost that a little bit. Steve Macklin picking up short title reign, only 54 days. I'm looking at Cage Match, but the one match I simply remember in his reign, I feel like he did fairly fine, but the one I simply remember is him versus PCO in that no TQ match, and that shocked me, blew me away at how good that was. Now Chile a champion, I think he's been fine. I haven't really been, shocked and all by everything that he's put out.
I think he's the right guy for TNA.
I think he is too. It's just his run so far has been 210 days long, and I'm like, I can't really remember any matches from it. And I'm literally looking at the list right now. I kind of remember Nick Aldis. I kind of remember that match. Other than that, I don't really remember much.
I remember the Josh one.
Josh Alexander, Bound for Glory. That's fair. I kind of remember that one too. They've been in an interesting year. I think they've had some highs, and I don't think they've ever had any lows. I think it's just been a lot of middle of the road for Impact.
I'm not excited for TNA.
Ooh, interesting. Why is that?
I think they're missing out on anyone that might come in and be exciting. I think a lot of people are leaving, right? The reports are that Trinity's going to leave. Deonna Purrazzo already left.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the people that, kind of sparked my interest towards the end of the year don't even belong to the company. Will Ospreay, for example, who obviously came in for some matches, and they were great matches.
We knew he wasn't going to go in the team.
Yeah, but my point is they needed a big signing. They needed something big for TNA, and there could still be one, but listen, I don't think there is.
They did promise a world shaker. Apparently, I don't know if you heard, but apparently he sort of walked that back a little bit.
Yeah, I bet he did. When you go so far with words and then you have to bring them back, that tells me a lot. Impact's year was rather entertaining. I think with Impact, the one thing you can count on is that if you turn on one of their special live events, more often than not, it's a easy watch. Yeah, and I think I appreciate that greatly. But with TNA, here's the thing: I need them to add. I need them to bring in new names. I need them to do something, because just going into TNA with the current roster does not have me all jazzed. Yeah, they brought in Alex Hammerstone to face Josh. Woohoo! The last time I watched Alex Hammerstone wrestle? Because I don't. I have no idea what form he's in. The last time I saw him, he was injured in wrestling a match, and it was okay. But they
signed Kushida. They signed Trent Seven.
Great. I don't like Trent Seven.
They're bringing in grizzled young. They're bringing in grizzled young veterans.
See, they're making little right moves, and I'm more excited for the young guys than I am the Trent Sevens of the world. I don't know, man. I just like with TNA, it's it's so wait and see. And when I say
Yeah.
wait and see, I mean like wait and see with caution, because it's like what there's something like I thought when they announced TNA coming back, I was like, oh, that's cool. You know, it has people paying attention, but the way they've rolled it out has been pretty bad. Like they pretty much shut down TV for the last month of the year
Yeah.
and these first 2 weeks going into Hard to Kill. And Hard to Kill's main event has Moose in it. Are you kidding me? That is not going to have me excited for TNA.
I think the most frustrating stuff about TNA here is that, like you said, we don't know anything that's happening with them here, and they have actively chosen not to do any real PR. Like, I don't know what TNA is supposed to be other than just a rebranding of Impact. Maybe it is just a rebranding of Impact, and if that's the case, then it's like, all right, then I'm
PLEs though, so
PLEs now. I don't know what the new infusion of talent is, other than formerly they've signed Trent Seven and Kushida.
hello.
Hey, I assume this is Eric. Hello, Eric.
Hello, Eric. How are you?
Who knows? Maybe it's not for some reason. I don't really know what it's going to look like. They've announced, like we said, Hammerstone, Zaya Brookside, the Grizzled Young Veterans, Vikingo. These are all people that they've announced for Hard to Kill, yet have not signed any of these people. I don't know if they're signing Vikingo, but they've not announced signings for any of these people. So it's like, are they signed? Are they coming to the company? What is this company? If it's going to change at all beyond the name, what does it look like? And who knows?
Right. They need a signing. Like they need one. They need them.
Yeah.
They need to get themselves one. I'm not saying they need to sign Will Ospreay. I'm not saying they have to sign Mercedes Moné.
What about Kazuchika Okada? He's on the table still, right?
I highly doubt it. They need to sign someone.
Who do you think that signing is? We talked about in the Slack a couple days ago where it was like it doesn't feel like there are many big name signings out there anymore that we know about. It kind of feels like if they had a big name signing, it would be someone that their contract ran out and then they're just going to show up.
I don't even know if it's a big name, but it's someone that's carrying excitement around them. You know, that's a difference. A Mustafa Ali carries excitement around him, I think, as opposed to pretty much everyone else. Well, Dolph Ziggler's a little different now, but like he carried excitement when he announced his world tour and all the dates. Right, a lot of people were buzzing about that.
He's got goodwill. Mustafa Ali has goodwill that Impact TNA could use,
and he's someone that if you brought in, no, he's not going to change the world for them, but he's going to be someone that people want to see.
But you know who's going to show the world? That's Dolph Ziggler, baby.
No. You're not taking him from New Japan, buddy. You know what? They're going to sign Tama Tonga. There's your answer. There you go. You're saved. Done.
Yeah, I mean, there's like a billion people out there.
Ain't nobody realer than Gorilla.
He put on a real good showing, I'll say, against Shingo. I was shocked of how good it was.
TNA needs Elijah, A.K. Elias. That's
according to Hiru in the chat.
By the way, it was
Eric. There we go. Perfect.
Yeah, no,
I mean, Elijah's. I don't. But the problem is, I don't think none of the. I think the problem is even like I've agreed that Mustafa Ali is probably a name that brings in like the most goodwill and the most fan base, I guess. But
I have a complaint for you.
Well, let me finish my thought real quick. None of these people feel like they will change the face of TNA.
Okay, listen, they're not going to get that person. I don't know. I don't even know who that would be because there isn't anyone anymore.
They promise they're going to change the world. What does that mean?
Here's what I think TNA should be doing. They should be doing what MLW is doing. I never thought I'd say
whoa.
Because MLW does it.
Addresses, folks.
Here's the thing. MLW does it bad, but at least they're doing it. Right? Mm-hmm. The relationship with CMLL means they bring in CMLL wrestlers. The relationship with Tokyo Joshi Pro means they bring in TJPW wrestlers. It's that. Like, that's what they need to be doing. They need to lean on these partnerships that aren't just New Japan and you get Kushida out of it. Yeah, I like Kushida. Kushida's cool. But, like, they need more. They need
Well,
more.
they are leaning on him a little bit. They have Okada coming in. They have Osprey coming in.
Yeah,
They have
but not
Vikingo
just
coming
New
in.
Japan. Not just New
They have
Japan. That's the
Vikingo
thing.
coming in. He's a.
But here's the thing: Okada's coming in for like the most vanilla tag team match. Osprey's coming in and then never coming back because he's going to AEW. Like, there's a reality here, right?
Sure.
And they need to work past this reality and get to the other side. They need to sign. It's not even signing people; it's just having people in your environment, in your ecosystem, that you can utilize, right? Or crazy idea, you push the young talent that you do have that have been ready. Ace Austin, Chris Bay, I will keep saying it. Masha Slamovich does not need to be in only a tag team anymore. She is ready. You're losing all these women. You're losing all these talent to other companies. This is what you do.
Yeah.
This is how you go about it. And I think they know that. I hope they know that, because listen, TNA has been a company that has come back time after time after time. They need an identity. TNA needs an identity moving forward.
To be fair, I don't think TNA really has ever had a full-on identity.
I understand that.
For like longer than maybe I'll say a year or two.
Yeah, like they need an identity for TNA outside of we're called TNA.
And they currently haven't done any PR to explain if that is anything other than just a rebranding of a name.
But I would love. We're talking about this promotion because it's freaking the first year of TNA back, so we have no choice.
Yeah, I think I want to keep talking about TNA. I think
all it takes is one person.
All it takes is one person, folks.
We've seen,
it's a one vote thing here. I want to keep talking about TNA. Ultimately, I think the decision comes down to how hard to kill is and what we get from it. You know, if maybe they are presenting this identity. Maybe they are going to have some astronomical sign that we don't know about. Maybe MJF's coming into the promotion. I don't know. You know,
TNA,
who knows?
Gets ahead by signing new young talent. I've been asking for them to do this more and more. Leon Slater, I got excited about.
Yep.
What's her name? They just signed her.
The person that's of Subculture.
Yeah, that's a good signing. I can't remember her name.
Danny Luna.
Yeah, there it is. Like that. Those are the signings that you should be making, right? Like, no, they should be trying to get the wrestlers that are making waves internationally that want to come to America. They did that with Speedball.
Mm-hmm. And Speedball had a very quiet year this year too.
Very, very quiet. I mean, he did the indies, but it wasn't to the realm that he did that first year, obviously.
Yeah.
Outside of the Osprey match, of course. So I think they just need to lean on that. If they want to, they need to know who they are. They don't need to do like these random spooky things. They don't need to do the random spooky things and then have like this great X Division match and then have this like weird world title feud. Like, they just figure it out. Because TNA can be something that people want to watch. I really do believe that. Ryan likes TNA. That's why he's Total Nonstop Ryan of the year 2024. Right? Like that give me a reason to want to be Total Nonstop. It's never going to happen. I'm not even going to sit here and lie. It's never going to happen. But
our history of relationship with Impact Wrestling in the past has always been a roller coaster.
It has, because I think they can be good.
Yeah. They have and that's the thing. It's like I don't want them. I never
do a lot with the little.
Yeah, I think that's completely true.
They have a small roster, but they do a lot with it.
I never expect TNA to put on better quality than AEW. I never expect TNA to put on more spectacle by WWE. But if they can at least hold my interest for a pay-per-view, fine by me. You know, if I can at least have like a couple matches in there, I'm like, that was pretty good, or that was really good. I'm okay with it. I'm not expecting much from them. I will take something at least good and entertaining from old TNA. But we'll see what that is in the new year. So maybe some quick hitters. We'll pick up the pace a little bit here. NWA.
No. Terrible year. Tyrus as champion. No one cares. You had a chance at a TV deal and you ruined it yourselves. Screw off, buddy. Like absolutely not.
The worst year probably in wrestling. I'm looking at a list of wrestling promotions. Honestly, they're probably. I mean, are they worse than the AAA? You're putting a comment on the thing from Visionary Vince.
This is about Impact.
This is about TNA, not about NWA. Are we sure? Gotta rely on your home ground until you build your own star and show that you can go younger. Well, I also feel like that also might also apply to NWA too.
Yeah, but no one cares about NWA. Next.
Yeah, no, it's been a rough year.
It's not being covered. It's not being covered. I have
no.
officially fully talked. Great point, Visionary Vince, on Impact. I absolutely agree. Leon Slater should come in next year and be an X Division star. Ace Austin and Chris Bay should move up to the world title picture. These are things that need to happen. You need to go with Masha Slamovich in the world title picture officially. These are things that need to happen. You have young talent that are really good. I want you to now believe in them.
To quickly go back to NWA, I will ask this question. What could I want to really play in the space with me for a minute, Scotty? Open up your mind, play in the space for me.
Mind open.
What could the NWA do to turn their promotion around in terms if they have any interest in doing that? Do you think what can they do in 2024 to really turn their interest around for the hardcore or casual fan base?
Sell WWE and be part of their ecosystem and not exist anymore.
Not really playing fully in the space. That's sort of well, they just sell their thing and stop existing.
That's the best way. Listen, the thing about NWA is they have some talent.
My answer is push Thrillbilly Silas. That's my answer.
All right, sure.
They have some Iron Claw's own Thrillbilly Silas.
They have some talent, but they're trying to do something that I just don't know can be accomplished in 2024. And that's this weird studio wrestling that's still kind of old school. Like they have
an identity.
They do have an identity, but it's not a good one.
It's soulless.
And they have bad world, like no one wants to see EC3 as world champion face off with. I have no idea who he's facing at this next pay-per-view. I saw the graphic.
I assume Matt Cardona. I just have to.
Yeah, there you go. We
didn't even talk about it. They're also going to be losing Camille.
They're going to lose Camille. Listen,
and that was one of the best wrestlers and best stars. And whenever I watched NWA, I'd be like, I want to watch the Camille match. I think someone
like Kenzie Page is quite good.
Yeah.
And I think those are the types of, again, going for younger roster members who are unheard of.
Like I said, I really think Thrillbilly Silas is really good. Legitimately, that's not a joke. He's really good. They have something in him the same way they have something in Kenzie Page. The problem is they need to develop.
They need to go back to before COVID happened.
No, sure.
That's what they need to do to save their product.
I completely
agree. I'm done talking. We're not covering this company this year.
MLW, Major Leaguer. They sort of had an interesting year as well, where they're all over the place. They start the year, I believe, last year as like an Azteca Underground, sort of Lucha Underground gimmick. Then they kind of just doing their own thing. And now they're at this point where they've lost a bunch of people and they're booking a bunch of like beyond wrestling talent and indie stars. So they're not like they've lost a step, it feels like, this past year, or they're trying to push new stars and they're trying to build up these next indies people, but it really feels like they've lost a step. They're lost Hammerstone, who was their cornerstone for the company in the past year or a couple years. Jacob Fatu is Jacob Fatu. They can build up stars, I guess. Whenever the biggest compliment I give MFW is when they belt up a guy, they really present him well, like Alex Kane. They really present Alex Kane well. Except there's so many times where MLW seemingly shoot themselves in their own foot. You complimented them earlier about how they have in the past, at the later half of the year, really worked on establishing these new relationships with CMLL, with Tokyo Joshi Pro. But like all their other previous relationships, it's kind of just like one or two wrestlers and then it's over and we move on to the next one. So I don't know. It's MLW.
Like They have a show tomorrow, Kings of Coliseum or something. No, Saturday. I don't know what the hell it is. But they have a show. There's not a single CMLL guy on this.
Of course,
What happened?
I don't even know. I literally have no clue what this card is. Don't even know.
Hyper Masao of TJPW is challenging tonight.
Huh?
For their show. Yeah. If anyone's ever seen Hyper Masao, this is a person that plays a superhero.
I was about to say that's a superhero gimmick, right?
Is a complete comedy wrestler. Oh, and Matt Riddle is back in MLW.
Forgot. We have a comment here from Jeff Bugenhagen. Did MLW rid themselves of Cornette? Yeah, that was years ago. But now they have Matt Riddle. So that's its own thing. I mean, is Matt Riddle a guy that can turn MLW around? For a certain fan base that doesn't know about all of his stuff, probably. Matt Riddle's still a popular guy.
I think turning them around is a bit extreme.
Do you think Sami Callihan coming into this promotion will turn it around?
Absolutely not.
I'm looking at the card. Sami Callihan versus Satoshi Kojima. No. That breaks my brain. That's so bad. Oh man, I don't like that at all. Yeah, like the first, I don't know. This show looks so
Cozy Lariat.
Yeah, this show is so weird. I mean, there's probably gonna be stuff I might check out. I'm probably gonna check out Fatu and Riddle. I'm probably gonna that. I don't know. I don't want to talk about it this year.
I will say there is a list that we do have of the maybes. I can tell you now, they're not on it.
I'm putting them on the no-fly zone. That's wrong.
All right.
I'm putting them.
What's next?
Ring of Honor. Kind of an interesting thing. I mean, I talked about this with my wife actually the other day of like, we don't really talk about weekly shows ever unless it's something important, like unless something happens, like a winter is coming that's in Dynamite, for example. We don't really talk about television. We just kind of talk about the pay-per-views. We talk about enough.
New Year's Revolution.
Yeah, we kind of just discuss the pay-per-views for everything, and that allows us the ability to give us enough content to talk about. Ring of Honor is one of those promotions where their 2023, I think, has been really, I don't even want to say crappy because I don't know, because I had zero interest in watching their television. Now they put on 3 pay-per-views, and
we're good.
All of them, I would say all of them are pretty good. That last one, I was kind of shocked by how good it was.
They're locked into pay-per-views.
Yeah. They're like everybody else.
I'll
talk about them until a year.
Exactly. We don't talk about them until their big shows come around. And that's okay. That's okay.
Yeah. Jeff Bugenhagen said in the chat, Athena's the best thing in the Ring of Honor, hands down. 100%. 100%. Now, I think she's been the only thing that I know about that's been good in Ring of Honor this past year.
Kyle Fletcher wrestled since he won the title. Who knows?
Maybe I don't know. What can change television wise for Ring of Honor in 2024 beyond, unless they get a TV deal? Is there anything that can really upgrade or change?
They return to tapings.
That tapings felt like they had
I was intrigued by those, and then they went to live and they just became dark shows. Plus Athena and whatever she's doing. That would be it. It would give me a reason to want to watch it.
Yeah.
Athena clips I can find on social media, right? Give me a reason. And that's something I just don't see happening anytime soon. So for now, I'm just on pay-per-views. Ring of Honor had a great year from pay-per-views.
Yep.
I don't know what TV was. I don't really care. That's just the truth.
NXT, an interesting one. This is the past year where they have sort of evolved.
Last year they were 2.0 when we did this.
Yes, they've evolved past 2.0, and now they are fully back to the black and gold era of NXT.
Don't know what to say about.
They brought in Dragon Lee this year. Next year they're bringing in Julia. I mean, they're around, baby.
I hate you.
Last year we
feel decided the need to cover it with Julia.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. So here's the thing about NXT, right? And we're moving a little bit faster through a couple of these. because we've got some quicker hitters.
We have a lot of big companies you're just not touching on.
Oh no, I'm working America first, and then we're gonna go international.
We gotta hurry up then.
I know. That's why I have all these quick hitters. What's interesting about NXT is that by this time last year, we both decided that we weren't going to talk about NXT because they were 2.0 and they were not good, and we were not interested. Now they've sort of, I would say, righted the ship a little bit.
They right the ship.
They got a little bit better. This past
that trick. Whoa, that trick.
Yeah.
Whoa, that trick.
That's why if Booker T was a white guy. Yes, sir. Scotty immediately embarrassed. This year going into 2024, I don't really have like expectations other than I'm intrigued by Julia coming in. If that's the case, reports are true.
I hate it.
That's fair. Do we want to talk about NXT? We did talk about NXT randomly on a PLE.
I think
once.
Hear me out here.
Do we shove them in the lineup?
Hear me out here.
Okay.
They get the tentative involvement. We'll give it a couple shows. We'll give it till WrestleMania show, whatever the frick that one is. Stand and Deliver.
Probably.
If between those two shows they don't give us enough, we axe it. Because listen, realities, I like Ilya Dragunov as champion. I like Trick Williams.
Me too.
I might have to accept watching Julia on this stupid show.
Tiffany Stratton, we talked her praises.
I love Tiffany Stratton. Tiffany Stratton's awesome.
Who just lost a match to become a stable hand for a day.
Yeah, see, that's tough. Listen, we're not going to talk about TV ever. Ever.
TV.
Not going to watch that. They are in the Ring of Honor section for now.
Yeah.
Pay-per-views only. Congratulations, NXT.
Even if they have a special episode of television, we aren't going to discuss it. A New Year's Evil, perhaps.
Oh yeah, because usually those are bad.
Yeah. Well, we'll talk about
only.
I'm good to committing to takeovers till WrestleMania. Give them a sort of a trial basis. We can sit here too.
And if they stink, here's the problem. I end up watching them anyways.
Well, yeah, that's on you.
You've watched them too.
I don't watch all of them. There's some I skipped this year. Fully skipped.
What was the last one? You watched the last one, so shut up.
I think I watched.
You watched the last one.
What's
I kept telling you to stop watching it. The one with the weird ass
Deadline. I did watch Deadline.
That's the spirit. I told you to stop watching it. Yeah, you know what? They're in. NXT just tries things that work sometimes, makes it melodramatic. Yeah, you're right. Thank you. Again, always, if anyone's in the comments, feel free to leave them. Thank you, Visionary Vince. Yeah, they do. They try a lot of things. Some things don't work. That's why we're going to do the pay-per-view thing for now.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry. The PLEs.
Thank you. I have a list of indies real quickly to get our thoughts.
Stack them all in one right here.
Quick
hitters. Bang, 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 bang.
I don't. We didn't really discuss indies a lot this year at all. We had some on the list. It just never timed up in terms of topic wise for us to ever really talk about indies. Personally, in my wrestling viewing, I want to watch more indies than I did last year. I felt like I didn't watch enough, and I enjoy looking at that next generation of independent wrestling stars. But we didn't really have a chance to talk about them all this year. I have a couple. I think it's more so a list. I've only 3 listed down so far. And I would love if you have an indie that you watch, folks in the chat, please let me know because I'm interested in watching more indies. But let's just talk about some very quickly. West Coast Pro. Scotty doesn't seem interested.
West Coast is an interesting one. They bring in the right people and stuff like that. I just like
Chris Hero as Booker. They have a relationship with Noah, seemingly.
They can go into the maybe column. Congratulations, we have our first maybe because they're like the only indie that looks like they book like besides Deadlock, but we can't do Deadlock because they tape and then they air later and Pain. That'd be the only one I'd fully consider.
I have Deadlock Pro on here. I wrote down Deadlock Pro.
It's tough because like they don't air their shows live.
Yeah, no.
And like
it's sort of a PWG situation where it's like
at least it's a week later, not a month or
6 months or whatever.
Yeah, or never.
Yeah, I think Deadlock Pro is something. Ooh, Jeff Bugenhagen says Deadlock is live now.
They were live once or twice. I don't know if it's full time yet. If it's full time, then this could change.
Then let's put eyes on them. I guess if they're live, we will try to do our best to discuss them.
Yeah, because I like what they bring to the table a lot. I will say that.
Defy. No? Oh,
no.
Darn. I enjoy Defy.
They're not live.
They've been live, I think, like twice this year. I think for the most part they aren't.
Yeah, no, I'm good.
That's fair. I'm probably gonna watch Defy. Jeff Bugenhagen responds again. All of their shows are live now. The only ones that weren't this year were the 3 in Japan. So it seems like Deadlock Pro is getting better and better by the minute. Okay. And finally, before we move on to international promotions, GCW. Would you say that GCW had a good year in wrestling? I don't think I watched a single minute of their year in wrestling.
Let me
look at my match list.
Time out. That reminds me. Didn't Andrade say he was going to do GCW events in the new year?
Well, maybe he doesn't need a new contract.
You don't know. He's not going to do them.
No. Well, when are they? When are they? Is it like middle of it? Because I imagine Andrade
has already done them all.
Like we have no idea. There's no way to check.
Here's the thing about GCW, okay?
Well, no, real quickly, I wonder if he's not showing up to the Rumble or something like that, and then so that he can then work, whatever. You can work these GCW dates. Someone I just pulled up on my matches list. Hear you in the chat. Only reason I watch GCW is for Tommy. 100%. I remember watching those matches. 100% watch those.
Shout out to the Queen, baby. You're absolutely right. Yeah, GCW is kind of like if they do something, maybe if they run.
I watched the WrestleMania shows.
Yeah, we do the collective.
We do the collective.
We keep the collective in.
I watched Drew Parker's last death match.
All right, listen. Well, here's what we're gonna do with GCW. Okay, are you listening? The collective. That's it. Move on. We have the entire country of Japan to get through.
I fully forgot that I went to a GCW show this year.
You said Vikingo. We have Japan to get through. I know you're gonna bring up Rev Pro, so let's go.
Yeah, maybe. GCW is a no. Unless it's the collective or unless they find a way to go back to Hammerstein.
I will. You know what? You hear it on the show. If you're a listener at home, I will come on the show and review if they do Hammerstein again. No matter what, I will watch the whole show.
We will we will open Ring Post Radio with Hammerstein talk. That is a promise to you, listener.
We could get even more riskier. Say whoever runs the Hammerstein next, we will cover. And then just pray like it's Ring of Honor.
Yeah, we'll do that. We can do that. Whoever next runs Hammerstein, we'll talk about.
When's the last time Hammerstein was run?
I mean, probably GCW.
Yeah, I think you're right. What's next?
New Japan. New Japan Pro Wrestling, the next big ticket item here. I think we'll definitely lock them in to discuss them.
They're a lock, yeah.
They're 2023 interesting. But there's a couple buffs at the end there.
I mean, there are.
They started with the Okada reign, correct?
Yeah, the Okada I Hate Children reign. Yeah.
The Kaito Kiyomiya feud kicked off the year.
Yeah.
That was really good.
Yeah.
The
They had,
summer.
They had Omega take the title hostage. Hiromu was champion.
Good first half of the year that a lot of people enjoyed. I was less high on it than others.
Ryan Wrestling, if you haven't figured out by now, folks. He has yet to be excited about promotion, but when we get to Rev Pro, oh my god, I lose my mind.
I'm so upset how little you enjoy Rev Pro. I love Rev Pro, baby. New Japan Cup. I honestly don't remember anything.
It was good.
Was it? Okay, good.
Sonata did his turns with the cup.
Oh yeah, he did. It was more of like a character New Japan Cup.
Yeah. It was a shorter. This year's supposed to be shorter. It looks like based on the dates. So
yeah,
that should be interesting.
G1 Climax. Fine to pretty
Stinker!
good.
Bum ass stinker.
It was fine. It was fine. There was some good stuff in there.
Okay, let me rephrase. It wasn't a stinker. It wasn't bum ass, but it should have been so much better because it's the G1 Climax.
That we can both agree on.
Final 2 days though, phenomenal.
A great question in the chat. Are you also talking about New Japan Strong? Yeah, we're kind of just also.
Yeah, we talk about all their shows.
Yeah, we'll talk about Battle in the Valley for sure.
Battle in the Valley, whatever the next one they do is in like 6 months because they seem to squish them all towards the end of the year.
I assume that they might. I wonder if they're going to do something around New York again now that Stardom has announced something.
Why New York?
Oh, sorry, not New York, Philly. My apologies.
Oh yeah, they will. They will. New Japan's the one running the Stardom.
Unless they just want to run New York.
I mean, they could. That's true.
I'm just looking through my match list. The G1 Climax was fine to good up until the last 2 nights. They were pretty good. Post that, I don't really remember much. But once the trios titles went on Tanahashi, Ishii, Okada, we talked about that. We love that.
Real wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
They're still champions, by the way.
I know they are.
New Year's Dash is tonight.
I said it when I tweeted at the CA, and I said it on Ring Post Radio previously. I think that Zack Sabre Jr. was one of the greatest champions of 2023. He had a great reign in the TV title, solid defenses throughout the world, really. And I think he had a great run this year. Okada was great throughout the year, through both halves of his various things in his year.
Okada good.
It kind of falls off there. I think Naito had a sleepy year. He had a couple of matches of Okada at the beginning of the year.
Naito was sick.
He had a good first couple of months of the year, and then he kind of disappeared.
He had a Naito year. He had a Naito. If Naito doesn't have a title, this is a Naito year.
He had a Naito year where it's like, we need you to get to Wrestle Kingdom. And he's like, all right, I'll get there.
All right, I'll get there. No promises after. I think with New Japan, it's very interesting going to the new year. Like this past year's whatever.
Sure.
I think we've talked about it on the show so many times over the past couple of weeks because of Wrestle Kingdom. What's next? Right? Now that we've gone to Wrestle Kingdom, the Wrestle Kingdom to me is the end of their year. Because now we're building up to the next one. And it's the first year under President Tanahashi.
Yeah. Another fascinating year. Kind of like WWE, kind of like AEW, where we're just like, all right.
Yeah.
Stuff is up there. We'll see what happens.
When New Japan was great, they were great this year. Like top tier, fantastic.
Still probably one of the best, companies.
And I don't think their lows are like all that bad. It's just kind of quiet, right?
Yeah, I can agree with that.
Now we're in a transition phase for New Japan because they're losing a lot of talent, right? Ospreay's gone. Tamatonga's gone.
Yeah.
We don't know who else is gone.
Clark Connors, I saw today, that his contract is up. Granted, Clark Connors had a contract apparently, number one. Number two, people work without a contract in New Japan all the time. They sign people for 1-year contracts all the time. we'll see what happens.
Yeah. But it's a transition phase, right? And they're going with a lot of new names to try to establish them, right? ELP and Hikuleo are the tag champs. David Finlay is the new IWGP Global Heavyweight Champ.
Call that one, baby.
A title that you need to establish, because while it's a beautiful belt, that doesn't make the championship, and they desperately need the secondary title to be great.
Yeah.
That's something that they've been missing consistently since they nuked the Intercontinental.
And the question is David Finlay the guy that can do that? Is Tama Tonga a guy that can do that for a month?
I'll tell you who is the guy. Dolph Ziggler, baby. That's the guy. That's the guy. 43 years young. Still got the blonde flowing hair. Are you kidding me? No, in all seriousness.
Tell me when I'm telling lies.
Exactly. They're in such an interesting spot, but they still have some of the best talent in the world at their disposal. Like Shingo Takagi, I think, showed everyone again that he is one of the best in the world, and this guy needs to be pushed back up the card. They have the young crew: Yota Tsuji, Yuya Uemura, Shota Umino, Ren Narita, Kaito Kiyomiya sometimes. Ryohei Oiwa is going to come back sometime this year, it seems, based off of where he is in his growth. These are the guys that will decide what kind of year New Japan has. It's not the foreigners. It's not the Okadas and Naitos. It's these four guys. If they're allowed to get the ball and run, they are going to have a great year in New Japan. Mm-hmm. I said we haven't reviewed the show yet.
We'll review it on this upcoming Sunday's episode of Ring Post Radio.
But your goal for next year should be Tsuji and Shooter. Based off of what I saw at Wrestle Kingdom, it should be those two. The crowd adores them. They're very clearly ahead of the other two. It's not even close.
Ren Narita got a spooky gimmick change, which is something classic wrestling trope of people who aren't really clicking at all.
I think Ren Narita can figure it out in the heel thing, but listen, he's very behind. And Yuya Uemura, he got to win.
He's brand new still. So
he's still brand new. But the other two are they're there. The crowd wants them to succeed. And now it's time to run with them. It's time to make them stars. And I think that's going to determine where New Japan is. And they're going to have to bring in new talent as well. I think this is something we can ignore. They already started with Dolph Ziggler. I'm not kidding. That is something that they have done. And it is a decision that I'm actually for. Like, why not? Let's see what happens, right?
Yeah. I'm fine with it. I'm intrigued. It's something different. We talked about it as like they're losing a lot of international stars to AEW right now. They need something, and Ziggler will be interesting. I mean, the Ziggler. Can I just talk about it real quickly? Ziggler's post WWE run tour setup is so fascinating. Like he gets a Puerto Rico booking. He is seemingly going to do a Japan tour, or maybe not a tour, but a Japan show.
Battle in the Valley, probably.
Oh, it could be the Battle in the Valley. I didn't think about that. It could be Battle in the Valley. What is next?
The fact he went to Japan tells me he's going to do a tour.
Yeah, like Puerto Rico, Japan. What else is this kind of guy going to do? Is he going to work the Von Erichs in Dallas? Like, where is he going to go? He's doing a territory run.
I think that's something important. I don't know this, but I don't know if he's married or not. I don't think he is. But like that has a lot to do with like someone willing to travel and do these types of things. If he becomes a key foreign talent for them, who am I to say no? Like, listen, the last time I saw him care, he was good.
They just lost Ospreay. So I'll take any foreign talent. Who is the next top guy foreign talent? David Finlay is obviously the one they christened, but he's not there yet, folks. We've talked about it all the time. He is not there yet.
I thought he looked good in the match yesterday,
Okay.
but he's not there. Like, he's not there to replace Ospreay. And
No.
listen, Zach lost. I don't know what Zach's doing.
At the end of the day, I would have said, "Oh, maybe Tama Tonga's the guy that can do it." And then he's like, "I'm gonna be leaving at the end of the month." I was like, darn.
They need Zach to stay, and then they need to bring in young new talent from four. Like, that's their best case, because
Zach is the foreign talent right now. You need to push him more.
You're not always gonna get the Omega. We talked about this with Chris Samsa on our preview. You're not gonna get the Ospreys and Omegas always. If you do, great.
Yeah.
But you need to go for these young talents that are going to learn for 3 years, right?
Mm-hmm.
The Callum Newmans.
Mm-hmm.
I would have loved Leon Slater here. I think Luke Jacobs is obviously a guy we continuously talk about on this show.
Yep.
There are people in the U.S. Indies that maybe we don't even know about. I thought Titus Alexander would have been great. He's in Noah right now, so I'm just happy he's doing something in Japan.
Mm-hmm.
But it's guys like that are going to probably make the most difference for them in the new year, while getting behind the guys that they already have. But they still have the top talent that are capable enough of pushing them through any woes without Ospreay, any woes without anyone else. They just got to pick the right guys, and they have Tanahashi as president for a reason.
Yeah, and then again, Tanahashi as president. Who knows what's going to happen? Obviously he will.
They're obviously going to go with Gabe and people like that too. So
yeah, who knows what's going to happen with? Obviously, he was probably already in some sort of committee, and he was already have a say in the room. But now he has even more say. What is 2024 going to look like for New Japan? I don't know. Again, a lot of me shrugging today with major wrestling promotions. The top 3 major wrestling promotions. I'm over here being like, I don't know. It's going to be
WWE's the safest bet right now.
Fascinating, which is fascinating.
Well, they should be with how they are. But yeah.
Noah, Pro Wrestling Noah, a company that we used to talk about a lot, quickly dwindled from the likes of Jake Lee's title reign to the point where we kind of just stopped talking about them altogether until Jake Lee lost. Now, I know that we are not high on Noah, but now they have Kano holding the belt. I guess seemingly they have Ibushi booked.
No. I watched Kaito Kiyomiya and Jake Lee tell that man to get out of the ring. That is over.
That's probably accurate. Who knows if they're going to bring him in again at some point this year? But
who knows?
What are your thoughts on Noah?
Back in the ring again. Noah's really weird.
Kaito has that a weird gear.
Noah's really weird for me because, I don't think I want to abandon them yet.
Ooh,
but
really?
they're on a timer.
It's the old NXT. We give Noah to WrestleMania.
We need to pick a more specific time for them.
When's the Cyber Fight show?
They didn't do that last year, so never.
Great.
They did Muto show instead. That's why.
Yeah. Well, then they'll probably do that show. They'll probably do the Cyber Fight show.
Yeah. Okay. So we'll do summer. We'll give Noah till the summer to impress us. But if Kano loses and the champion's something ick, I'm done. I'm out. They are the tentative. We're gonna talk about their shows, but we have a strict cutoff if anything goes whack.
Yeah. Speaking of whack, Jake Lee. Where is he wearing? What is he doing?
The Undertaker.
And now he has a weird diamond tattoo on his neck. He has a monocle and gloves and a cane.
If Jake Lee gets the world title again or gets a world title match soon, I'm just cutting it off.
I think that's fair.
But Kano gives me hope for some stupid reason.
Kano gives me hope. El Hijo de Dr. Wagner Jr. coming back and returning to Noah gives me hope because he had a fantastic year in 2023.
Kaito Kiyomiya should give me hope.
Oh yeah, I think he needs his own battle.
Here's the thing: he gives me hope when he wrestles because I think he's fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
It's just do they want to book him to be fantastic? The first match they're doing this year after the show is Kano and Go Shiozaki, literally in a week and a half. So
I'm into it. I'll watch that.
I'm not gonna say no. So we're gonna keep them in the slot for now. Mm-hmm. But they are on the shortest leash.
Okay. All Japan. I think maybe
Weird
2
timing.
Yeah, I think 2 weeks ago, maybe
were
a
a
week
lock.
ago, you and I were locked in. We're watching everything All
Yeah.
Japan. We're an All Japan podcast now.
Yeah.
And then the past week or so of Charlie Dempsey and all this WWE stuff,
All
and
these
then
people leaving.
the president getting infatuated seemingly by all stuff, and whatever's happening fully behind the stage in that regard.
Yeah.
A bunch of people leaving.
Yeah.
I mean, Nakajima and Miyahara are still there. So
Here's the thing.
I think I'm still into it.
We're adding it to the shuffle this year.
I can agree with that.
We got to add it to the shuffle.
Because willing to add it to the shuffle.
I still think they have magic going on.
They booked Takeshita, so maybe there isn't a WWE thing.
They booked Takeshita. Yuhei Aoyagi's, by the way, going to DDT to face Takeshita at one point. I'm not saying we're talking DDT, but holy shit, that's awesome.
We're not talking DDT, by the way. I don't think we're going to talk DDT.
Nope. No, probably not.
No. I'm okay fully with All Japan had a great year, and then they had a last-minute hiccup.
Such an incredible year. They had a last-minute hiccup of this WWE stuff, and then a bunch of people leaving all of a sudden. Yeah, it's like,
now to the point where the president is actively being booed at their shows, at his own shows.
Notably, I will say this. Out of all the people that left, only one of them mattered to me, which was Shuji Ishikawa, which is a big deal because he was the booker. But we'll wait, right?
You're telling me Yoshi Tatsu didn't break your heart?
No. He's in DDT now.
Good for him. He fell down the ladder.
We're locking in All Japan.
Yeah.
We're locking in All Japan. We're riding with Kento. We're riding with Nakajima. We're riding with Aoyagi.
Anzai.
Those are our guys.
Yeah.
Those 4 alone.
That's a good foundation to watch.
Listen, if we're riding with Noah even remotely, then we got to be riding with All Japan. Because at least I know All Japan's going to be pretty good.
Hey, look, and maybe at some point in the year, All Japan turns into NXT Japan. And, then I guess we still talk about it.
I really hope that doesn't happen.
I
really hope it was, William Regal just wanted his kid there, which by the sounds of it, that's absolutely what he wanted.
Yeah. Stardom. Fascinating 2023. Very political behind the scenes. I would say a down year.
Polarizing 2023.
I know you're biased, of course, towards Stardom in various different ways. From my perspective, a down year for the promotion, mainly due to a lot of political turmoil behind the scenes in terms of their booking. There's been a lot of moments this year where I was just like ice cold, not watching the promotion at all. And I needed you to drag me along and be like, Scotty, what is good on this show? What do I need to watch? Because I'm not interested in anything. Really down year for them. Really disappointing year after the several years in a row of great Stardom Joshi wrestling. Next year, now that we have figured out the political turmoil, we could be another point here. Visionary Vince Stardom year was summed up by injuries. Another great point. Now that the political turmoil has been to rest, now that the booking seems to be back in order, they're also going to be losing Julia, so that sucks.
No,
will Stardom be on a better path in the new year?
Listen, I've watched 3 Stardom shows over the past week.
Unbelievable. I texted you before we started saying, how have you already watched 52 matches this year? I've watched 18. When you've watched 52.
Get better.
You're insane.
Get better. I don't know what you want me to do. Get better. This is why we don't do the match race anymore. That and I never want to do that again. I couldn't be more excited about Stardom after a 3-show period than I am right now.
I love to hear that.
You have Micah as world champion.
I have not seen any of these shows, by the way.
Yeah, you are useless to this conversation. Thank you. I don't even know why you're here. Why are you even here? You haven't watched anything. What are you doing?
Yeah.
Whatever. Micah's world champion. All right, enough. Saori Ano is Wonder of Stardom champion. The Triangle Derby is done. It's over. We already did it, baby. gone. Mayu Iwatani and Shuri had one of my favorite matches in a very long time, right before Wrestle Kingdom. And DDM is over. Dunzo. Finished.
What did I miss? What? That's news to me. What are you talking about?
Julia pulled the plug on the show yesterday, the Ideon Gate show.
I guess that makes sense. She's leaving the company, so it makes
right.
sense.
So that was the confirmation that she's leaving. And for most people, they will listen. They will go into this year with fear, with sadness, with upset about Julia. Listen, folks, I'm not gonna sit here and say losing Julia is a good thing. It's not. I'd be a goddamn liar if I said that.
I talked about on a previous episode how she was the most connected to the North American audience of any of the Stardom wrestlers. Losing her, who's after that? Starlight Kid, maybe?
Back against the wall. New stars having to be made. That is what Rossi Ogawa does. That is his entire Stardom run. He's lost Io. He's lost Kairi. That's nothing. He lost Hana Kimura, and Arisa Hoshiki, and Kagetsu, and Hazuki in like a 5-month period due to all different situations. And they ended up having their 2 strongest years ever in 2021 and 2022. Losing Julia is something you set yourselves up for, because Julia has been locked in to a WWE future for, in my opinion, for 3 years. That's why you sign Suzu Suzuki. That's why you bring in Saori Anou. That's why you sign all these talents. That's why you debut 5 rookies that are bringing so much potential right off the bat, especially the rookie of the year, Yuzuki, that they're very excited about, and rightfully so. That's why you do all these things, because you're trying to create excitement heading into the new year. They have Micah on top as world champion. That is a trial and error type thing. They're going to let her ride and see what happens. They have all the right things in place to make this work. I am really having a great time with Stardom after. Listen, this is coming from someone that I agree. It was a down year for Stardom. 100%, especially compared to the last 2. It's uncomparable. You know what's the benefit for Stardom? So many companies had bad years that it's like they almost, they
eked out
to the side. Yeah. So many companies were like in the news because they were having worse, and things were getting worse. And then Stardom finally got in the news, and that's when I think it really hit. The end of last year was bad as can be. Truthfully, like I think we got to the worst. And now they're coming out the other side trying to rebuild and figure themselves out with the most talented women's roster in the world. That's not a bad thing to have. I'm very confident about where they're going based off of 3 shows.
That's insane.
You need to understand how I was feeling the previous 12, 16, whatever shows. Between the 5-star and Dream Queendom, I was upset, people. I was upset. I didn't like wrestling anymore. I was pretty sure. But I'm feeling good now. And there's excitement even with Julia leaving. I can't stress that enough. It's scary, but this is where Stardom is. This is something they're used to. This isn't like New Japan where they're losing an Ospreay and don't have an immediate successor. Yeah, they need to make someone new for the Western fans to love, like a Julia. Okay, take your pick. Someone's going to get there.
Wrestling has always been built off the backs of new, young, underutilized talent. The problem with New Japan losing a bunch of people and looking at the rest of the roster and being like, oh, hey, who do we have going for it? We've always talked about it's the new 4 guys, the ones you have to be pushing. Those are who you have to be pushing. Stardom is in a position now where they have to, like they've always been, push new young stars. And they've done it time and time again. I completely agree with you, Scotty. They've done it time and time again. They just have to do it once more.
Do it again, do it again, do it again. It's what they do. Micah's world champion for a reason. She's next. of getting pushed up. Suzuki won the 5-star Grand Prix. She's now up there. It's a rotation, and they have people ready to get rotated in.
And what's weirdly nice about Stardom is that since they lose a big star every couple of years, if not every year or so, they're constantly revolving that door. They've constantly the need to revolve that door.
I think they got to a not a scary place because they just, they have the ability to sign people and they have a lot of young talent, right? Suzu, Starlight Kid, Azumi, but getting to a place where they're now like bringing rookie after rookie after rookie that are showing promise. That's what helped them. And if you can develop these rookies and have them ready, you're going to succeed. And I'm very excited about what they're bringing this year. I think their first 2 shows of the year, like the Triangle Derby, it's whatever. Listen, I'm just happy it's over. Truthfully, I'm happy it's over, and I'm happy they got the belts off of Julia so that Shuri, Mirai, and Ami can listen. Shuri's doing something. Can't express enough how much I need Shuri to be doing something to make Stardom better. Who was the highlight of 2 years, essentially? Shuri. She's got to be in the driver's seat. She's got to be doing something important. And through 2 shows she has. And I'm very excited to see what's next. They have a big cork in this weekend, so on and so forth. There's a lot to come. But I'm hopeful. If you asked me a week ago before Dream Queendom happened, oh boy, was I nervous. And there's still injury. There's still people coming back. Tam still has to come back. She announced her return. Natsupoi still has to come back, who I think is like very needed, just for overall, feeling. And they have a lot of people. They have a lot of people. They're probably gonna have more international stars too this new year. We'll just have to wait and see. But I feel a lot better now than I did a week ago. So
I'm also real quickly before we move on to the next one. I am intrigued to see how the 5-star this year is structured. We have been seemingly promised that it will be restructured to better combat injuries to these wrestlers. Since last year was riddled with them. I am fascinated to see what changes are made and if those changes are improvements. Because that will really that will be the test. That would be the tell of how the end of the year will be for Stardom.
It's also worth noting Historic Crossover is coming back this year. So
really?
They announced that at the end, like in that press conference where they went over all that stuff, but people kind of forgot about it.
You got lost in the shuffle
because they never announced a date. So people are like, okay, but they did say it's coming back this year, which I think is an exciting thing. That felt like kind of the cherry on top to the first 2 years under Bushiroad. I think Synergy, which, as we know after talking to Samsa, like Synergy seems to be in place a little bit more, hopefully under Tanahashi. So
and maybe we'll get a tag match with the president and the vice president. So we'll see how that goes.
Yes, the vice president Mayu Itani. She's like, I would never want to be president, but I can be vice president. I was
like, now she gets American politics. Speaking about a company that is losing stars, and I don't know if they're as good of a star-making machine as Stardom, but this is fully on you, Scotty, of whether or not we want to discuss it this year. Tokyo Joshi Pro.
Yeah, I mean, if we're going based off one show, which was yesterday, it was really good. Today, technically. Masha Slamovich had maybe the best match I've ever seen her in. And I love Masha. I think she's great. But her and Miyu rocked it. They're interesting because they're in a growth period. They lost Yuka. They gotta stop going to the same 3 people.
This past year they sort of elevated people, and then they kind of went back to the old well.
Yeah, they're in a weird spot where I don't think they had a strong 2023, but it was all in purpose of getting people up the card. Hopefully, that when 2024 comes around, they actually give them chances.
But it's a question of, does that happen? I guess.
Yeah. I think the best bet with them, if they even want to be considered, here is you wait until their true big show, Grand Princess, and see how that goes, because like that needs to hit for me personally to like be interested, let alone bring it in full topic. So I think the best bet is we cover that show, whatever the hell it is, unless it stinks, then we never speak of this again. And maybe that's where we decide, because I would obviously love to have more Joshi in here, but there's not a lot of options. Because I hunting for indies, that is not a fun time. This is Wrestling Universe. Wrestling Universe, you just sign in and you're like, oh, there it is. Woohoo.
Yeah.
So I think when Grand Princess comes around in March, that's like, we'll see. But until then, it's whatever. They don't have like these major shows enough either that like you have to worry about it. And it'll depend what they're planning with America stuff too, because that's a big focus of theirs for good and for bad, I think.
Yeah. Now my turn to talk about a promotion. Rev Pro. I think they've had a great 2023. I greatly enjoy Rev Pro. They talk about star making machines. I don't necessarily want to say star making machines, I guess, in terms of an indie level. They are the only thing that exists in European wrestling right now, it feels like. In Rev Pro, the England scene is completely
You're not
dead.
a progress maniac?
No. Sadly, no. WXW are just kind of still doing their thing. Yeah, it's Rev Pro has been great. And whether or not they are a true star-making machine, let's say, I think they're one of the best generators of good wrestlers. They've put out a lot of really good wrestlers in the past year or so, ever since the pandemic. Leon Slater, Luke Jacobs, Connor Mills has sort of put it together in the past year or so. They put out a lot of young talent, and they're constantly generating new young talent. So I would love to keep talking about Rev Pro. The things we talk about Rev Pro are really just the big shows, the anniversary shows, their high stakes shows. I know they have a big high stakes show coming up next year in, I want to say it's February. Is it February?
Is it actually called High Stakes?
Yes, it is actually called High Stakes. I want to say it's High Stakes. Yes, that is in February 18th. That is so far Michael Oku versus Will Ospreay. That's Will Ospreay's last match in Rev Pro. Shingo Takagi versus Gabe Kidd, and Robbie X versus Mustafa Ali so far announced for that show. So I like
show.
What's that?
What a weird show.
Yeah. So things like that where it's like high stakes. I'm fully down to talking about that. Their anniversary show, totally down to talk about that. Their the end of the year show, Uprising, totally down to talk about that. Otherwise, we're probably not going to talk about all the live events or their smaller pay-per-views or anything. But if it comes up, I'm fully down to it. It's a question of whether you want to join me on that run, Scotty. I guess it doesn't matter. We're a one-vote system here. So if I'm talking about
one-vote system. If someone wants to talk about it, we talk about it.
I think if anything, if I had to give one pushback on Rev Pro and how their 2024 is, it is what do they look like without Will Ospreay? That is going to be the real test for Rev Pro coming up.
That's where we get to decide if I never have to watch this again.
Pretty much. That's the sort of till WrestleMania Cyber Fight Show Grand Princess timer that we set on Rev Pro is, I guess, the show
Ospreay.
A couple times after Ospreay. What do we have to get that sense of that is what does their post Ospreay look like?
Post Billiam.
We'll see. I guess we'll see. CMLL.
By the way, this is a lot of promotions.
We got two left. We got only two left. CMLL. Great year. Fantastic year.
They're starting off hot this year, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, they had what do they have so far? Oh, they've probably had some matches already.
Oh, baby.
Uh-oh.
First Viernes show of the year is Dorada versus Templario
for the title. That's good. That's good.
Oh man, Tessa's back.
She's been back forever.
I thought she left.
No. I think she maybe left for like a little bit and then came back. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I like CMLL was a show that like I don't think we're gonna be talking about their Super Viernes shows week to week. I think we'll talk about them if it's like a super interesting lineup or we have a lighter schedule, maybe.
A super show.
Yeah. Obviously we'll talk about the anniversary show. I'm fully putting them into the green category. The we're gonna talk about them. But I think they're talking about them as sort of more so like we're going to talk about the super big shows, and then we're going to talk about like Super Viernes if we have the time or not.
Right. Because Super Viernes is kind of like a TV show.
Yeah.
Right.
It's just a high level TV show, I guess, is the best way to say it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm fully down. They had a great 2023. Just like Rocky Romero ruled CMLL, Teton, Masquerita Dorada, Templario, Soberano Jr., Mystico, lest we forget. I'll even throw in Hechicero, a big fan of Hechicero. I greatly enjoyed the work of CMLL 2023. I really hope they keep it up in 2024. That's really all I can say about it.
Yeah, I agree. I'm excited for what they got. And if there's a big show, which you can kind of pick and choose, you just look at their cards, or if Lucha Blog decides to preview it, you kind of know. But yeah,
follow Lucha Blog. That's really the best bet for figuring out.
They're definitely in the green. They're definitely in the green. They're a full go. We'll try to focus a little bit more on them. I try to make sure like I see what they have booked every week.
Yeah.
Just so like I don't miss something.
Yeah.
Which I kind of did towards the end of the year besides Andrade last year. So
yeah, we'll try to do a better job of including CMLL in our weekly lineups. And last promotion, you can probably guess what it is. AAA. A year that was, we put them on the list last
terrible.
I put them on the list, really. That was a Ryan doing of like, well, we got to talk about AAA. It's AAA. Their year was so bad that we fully stopped talking about them, not even mentioning them several moments throughout the year.
I remember like a Triple Mania would be coming up and you'd be like, nope.
There was a point where we would talk about Triple Mania in terms of me bringing up as a surprise bit where I said, gotta talk about this. And I would run through a terrible card for you. I fully stopped doing that bit. That's how bad it got. It became no longer fun for me to do that.
It's a bad promotion.
It's real bad. I ask you the same question I ask about NWA. What can AAA do to turn your interest back around towards them?
They need a lot.
I'll start first. Get Conan away from the pen and the book.
Well, that's the thing. I can't sit here and be like, oh, they need to sign you. No, that's not a thing, right? They're not going to start signing people away from CMLL. That's not how this works.
QT Marshall, baby, let's go.
Yeah, like they have Vikingo.
So Pentagon and they sell Pentagon.
That's great, man. That's
not
awesome.
Not really a new star.
They're okay. They have a show.
You know who they should bring in? This is a legitimate answer. They have a show Saturday. Great for them. You know who they should legitimately bring in? This is not a joke. Bring in between tours, El Hijo del Dr. Wagner Jr. You know, you casted him out to Noah. Time to start reeling him back in and him just wrecking shop. And then bring in the fridge. Bring in his brother. Bring in the fridge.
You remind me of Soberano Jr. signed a year-long contract with New Japan. I just got very excited.
Yeah. Bring in, freaking Dr. Wagner Jr.'s children, Galeno Del Mal and El Hijo de Dr. Wagner Jr. Bring him in the AAA. I'll be interested in your promotion, Conan. Do that. I'll be interested.
You don't think they actually can do anything, right? Like there's nothing they can do to get us interested.
They're like a weird point where it's like I feel like they're fighting just to keep Vikingo. That's all it is. They're just kind of fighting to keep Vikingo before he leaves.
Their Triple Mania show, their last one,
Sure. Didn't even talk about it.
was so bad.
I don't even know what it was. I think I wrote down that I was going to watch the main event. I was like, "What's the AAA Mania?"
They made Sam Adonis shave his head.
Yes, that was what it was. And he's out of the promotion, I think. I don't know if he's still in it.
I think he's he's the last time he wrestled was in. Oh my god!
Uh-oh.
Oh my god!
Is it going to be some sort of weird?
He doesn't really count. Tim Storm still wrestles.
Of course, Tim. He's in NWA, baby.
He's wrestled Alberto El Patron twice in the past month. Sorry, 3 times.
Good for him. Good for him.
Yeah, fuck AAA. We're not talking about AAA.
No. Well, there we go. I think that's it.
Is there anything? Can I throw a promotion in?
Sure, yeah.
No, there's nothing that I actually.
I was scratching my head of like what other things are there. I don't think there's any other real promotions other than maybe like indies. Like, I don't really think there's any much Joshi more that we would talk about. If we're not really talking Tokyo Joshi Pro, I don't think we're going to talk about anything else. If we're not talking DDT, we're not talking any other Puro. We're not talking Glate. Glate is fully out.
Damn. No, I agree. I don't watch Glate anymore.
Other than that, in America, it's like indies at this point. I don't think it's anything else. I think that's pretty much it. If there's any other indie promotions in the comments, again, shout us out. We would love to check them out. And if Deadlock's Pro is live, then I think we're going to watch some more Deadlock Pro. Sukaban, and also because he was in here earlier, Kitsune Women's Wrestling. Of course, we'll talk more about them. Choco Pro. Again, if we're not really going to talk about Tokyo Joshi Pro, I don't think we're going to talk about Choco Pro.
I don't watch
that. Sukaban, do we talk more about American Joshi scene?
It's not really seen yet.
That's fair. I think they are at best
just shows.
Yeah, at best they're just shows. We'll see if it turns into something.
Yeah. I think there's nothing left.
So right now, what we'll be discussing in 2024 on Ring Post Radio is WWE, AEW, TNA, Ring of Honor, New Japan, All Japan, Stardom, Rev Pro, and CMLL, with West Coast Pro and Deadlock Pro as our potential indies, along with NXT, Noah, and Tokyo Joshi Pro all having weird timers and weird conditions to whether or not we cover them on Ring Post Radio.
That's what we do, baby.
That is what we do, baby. That is it for this week's episode of Ring Post Radio. We appreciate everybody.
We're back next week. We're back in a few days. This is not this week's episode.
Thank you. This was this week's episode. This is our second. Thank you so much for our bonus episode of Ring Post Radio. We discuss the year in review, thoughts about the year in pro wrestling as best we can, and our expectations for 2024. I'm excited for this year in wrestling. Are you going to do you change up what you watch, or do you try to focus on other things? Do you have any sort of wrestling New Year's resolutions for you, Scotty?
Yeah, I've decided to watch less things that I know that I won't be good. Like,
what do you mean?
Okay, I need to specify this.
You can say TNA. It's okay.
No. If I have to watch a show for this show, I'm watching it. But what I mean is, like, in my free time, if I know a match is just not gonna like knock my socks off, be like this great thing, it's like, oh, I like this wrestler, I'm probably just not gonna watch it this time around. Like this first week, yeah, I have watched a lot of matches, but this first week is different from the rest of the year for me. Like when New Japan, or not New Japan's a bad example. But like when I watch a Collision show, I'm just going to watch what I want to see, and then I'm going to skip through the rest. I'm not going to sit there and watch, some Brian Cage squash match or Sky Blue versus who the hell knows. Like
Yeah.
I'm not doing that anymore. Like I do that with WWE. Well, actually, to a lesser extent, I don't really watch WWE TV unless like it's a Gunther match at this stage or a title match. I try to watch title matches. That's my big thing.
We didn't really talk about it, but I got to go back and watch the Gunther Miz match on Raw because apparently that was really good. And we talked about that Gunther would be a Hall of Fame wrestler if he gets a good match out of the Miz.
I don't remember if I watched that or not. Oh, I did. It was pretty good. It was a lot better than the first one,
Thank
which
God.
was weird. Which the first one, as we said, best Miz match, worst Gunther match.
You're sure. But now we get a better match out of the Miz. All right, I'm in.
Gunther is a wizard. But yeah, my whole thing is like I'm trying to cut back a little because I want to get back into old stuff a little bit more. That was my goal for last year. I just fell off of it a little bit. I think there's a right plan here. I just got to readjust. And obviously this first week has been a lot because I watched 10 straight hours of wrestling last night.
Insane.
From Dynamite to TJPW to Stardom to New Japan. But I had to watch the 2 Joshi shows because I had to record today before this show. So it's a little different. But yeah, I'm going to pick and choose more here and there. And just try to enjoy a little bit more of what I want to watch while also getting back into some history.
I don't know if you know this, but Roy Lucier on YouTube, one of his many YouTube channels, he has a YouTube channel called Roy Lucier Japanese Ladies Promotion. For the past several days, he's been uploading looks like complete old episodes of All Japan Women Television.
That's exciting.
From I'm seeing 1993. Yeah, like pretty much not everything. It's really all over the place. It's almost like one episode from a month, basically. But he's been uploading stuff, so I would recommend that to you.
Oh, I meant to say this randomly, but Riho wrestled in TJPW, and this is like a complete gripe. If AEW is not going to use her, she needs to continue to wrestle in these companies because she's very good. She had a 5-minute match where she pretty much just beat this poor rookie. And I was like, this is great. More of this. More Riho.
Yeah.
But that's the thing that just popped in my head because I just saw a picture of her and I was like, oh yeah, she was cool.
My New Year's resolution this year is 2 years ago, I think it was watch as much stuff as possible to really like get the full scope of wrestling in modern age.
Yeah.
Last year,
watched nothing.
Last year it was I barely watched any modern stuff. Last year it was like in 2023 it was try to watch as much old stuff as possible as I can.
Yeah.
This year,
what is
this year it is. I looked at my watch later playlist on YouTube.
Sure.
Would like to guess how many matches?
887. Not 800. 187.
187 matches that I put and watched later. You're not even close. Not even close. 1,410 videos that I put into my watch later. So
why?
That is my goal for this year. My goal is to tackle the backlog. So we'll see how I do with more matches that probably get put on it every day.
Are we gonna watch Prestige?
Do you want to talk about Prestige? We kind of had them. We've had eyes on them last year, and then we didn't really.
Nightingale's on their show tomorrow. Yeah, this is Leo Rush.
What if instead of promotions, we just watch every Leo Rush indie match this year?
I'm in. I'm pretty much going to do that with Mustafa Ali.
Yeah, that's probably true as well. But yeah, I'm tackling the backlog this year. So, hey, if you have a backlog, if you're a listener on Ring Post Radio, if you have a backlog, join me on this quest to go through the backlog. I hope yours isn't as big as 1,400, but maybe it is.
I just wouldn't do that.
You would just start cutting things or just not post all these things. So much of them are just random matches. Some of them are like actual classic wrestling matches.
How many of them do you think are going to be bad?
Oh, there's a good portion. Let's see.
Why
I
would
got
you watch?
let's see. How quickly into my watch later can we get to a match that Scotty is not interested in? Ready?
Probably
Let's start.
very
Let's start.
quickly.
Ricky Steamboat versus Jimmy Snuka in 1981.
Zero interest in watching Jimmy Snuka.
But is that because it's Snuka?
Yep.
Yeah, that's fair.
So I'll give you you get a free trial. Okay, continue.
I think I'll also get a free pass on this next two. I put them on here for obviously a specific reason. Killer Khan versus Terry Gordy in World Class Championship Wrestling. And then Killer Khan versus Hulk Hogan. Killer Khan, of course, passing this week. I put him on there because those were one of his more famous matches. And then right after that is in Title Match Wrestling, Ladies Night Out 13, Kenzie Page, Ella Envy, and Kylie Alexa versus Savannah Evans, Danny Moe, and Jada Stone.
Okay.
Scotty is not interested. What about the one after this? Zaya Brookside versus Masha Slamovich.
Are we? No, absolutely not. I think the game is now, can we find one that he wants to watch?
Camille versus Hollywood Haley J.
No.
Conan versus Vampiro versus Shocker versus Cybernetico.
No.
Okay, I'm just gonna skip until I find a match that you might be interested in. Ric Flair versus Kevin Von Erich for the NWA World Title.
Yeah, but that's because I watched Iron Claw.
Oh, here we go. I don't know. This might have been the one. I don't know. Suwama versus Hiroshi Tanahashi.
Yeah, that's real stuff right there, baby.
I think that might be the first true match that Scotty is fully into.
The one from Champion Carnival. Oh, fantastic.
Yes, it was in the VOW Secret Santa. I was like, oh,
yeah,
well,
I'm the one that gave that one out.
I thought you did. I wasn't entirely positive.
It says it on it.
Well, yeah, but it doesn't say it on the freaking YouTube watch later page.
Oh, no, not at all.
I don't know. Jeff Bugenhagen, just find a Mayu match. I wish I could search within this function because I'm just going to be scrolling.
People know how I work. It's Mayu, and then I don't give a shit after that. That is my wrestling fandom, folks.
What about Dr. Wagner Jr. versus Jushin Thunder Liger in CMLL?
I'm definitely intrigued.
24-minute.
End the show. We were supposed to be done an hour ago.
What about, okay, last one. Pro Wrestling Noah, Kenta versus Ted DiBiase Jr. I'm watching.
I have a friend, Dylan.
Uh-huh.
That listens to this show.
Mm-hmm. Big fan.
If he makes it this far, he's going to pop because this guy has been talking about Ted DiBiase Jr. and Noah for the past couple months with me. And I don't get it. And the fact you just brought it up makes it worse.
Woo! Let's get into it, folks. Yeah, that's fully why I put it in there. Was like, I gotta watch Ted DiBiase Jr. and Noah pre-WWE. What the hell is this gonna be? Anyways, we should end the show. That's it for this bonus episode of Ring Post Radio. Thank you, everybody, for joining us in the live chat. Thank you for joining us. If you're listening to the audio episode, we appreciate you subscribing. And go tell your friends about Ring Post Radio. We have a lot of stuff planned, a lot of hopes and dreams for 2024 for Ring Post Radio and beyond with the rest of the Countdown Network, of course. But obviously, for this case here, for Ring Post Radio, we have a lot of plans and dreams and hopes. So tell your friends about the show, and we hope they can join us and join you all on this journey of nonsense. Scotty, I don't know, we're not doing match of the week, but I guess anything to plug?
Check out Stardom Road, uploaded this week on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and little sneaky YouTube action. You kidding me? We're over on YouTube. Don't get used to it, folks. It's not going to happen that much. But we did do it this time around, and that's what matters. I thought we did a great show. I really did. I thought we killed it. I think it's one of our best shows to date. Based off the viewership, I think people have been enjoying the video. It was nearly 3 hours, which me and Trent said at the end of that episode. We were like, "Uh-oh, no one's going to watch this." But I've heard a lot of positive feedback about it. I'm very happy about it. And if there's a way to sell people on watching this episode, give me 1 second.
I will say,
start doing your plugs.
The YouTube channel is basically just at Countout. I guess you could do, they have apps now. The Countout Wrestling Podcast Network YouTube channel. You know, it has our logo for Countout. So that's where all these videos lie. We also, you know, live stream. Obviously, if you're watching this on YouTube right now, you're at the channel. Subscribe. Do that right now. And then, you know, watch the Stardom roster tier list maker from Stardom Road episode 31. And then you'll be able to see more stuff. We have clips. We do all that stuff too.
If you ever watch this video that we're recording on right now, here is the tier list at the end. I just want everyone to look at it. Take a second, bring it in what you're seeing here, and then go.
Death is at D? How dare you? Oh, sorry, my apologies. It's D for death. No, you're fine.
You got to listen to how we got here, why people are where they are. You got to understand. I'm trying to sell the show here.
I mean, D for death, I'm fine with. Yeah, my plug is go subscribe to the Countout Network YouTube channel. One of the goals, my personal goal for this year for Countout, since I am, I guess, like Tanahashi, the president of Countout or whatever, is to reach at least 500 subscribers on the YouTube channel. We're at 385 right now. So we're a little ways away, but I think we can easily get to 500 by the end of the year. So that is my current goal for the Countout Network YouTube channel. So if you're not subscribed, of course, go check that out. If you're literally watching this on YouTube, you can subscribe right now. And we would appreciate it. That's my plug. Follow me on Twitter at Ryan Nicey. Follow Scotty at Scott E Wrestling. Follow the whole show at Countout Pod on Twitter and all the other social media apps. We're pretty much everywhere. Until this Sunday, we'll be talking about a bunch of different stuff. Wrestle Kingdom 18, of course. Whatever happens on New Year Dash. We'll be announcing the year-end awards. Announcing the nominations for the year-end awards, previewing TNA Hard to Kill, Battle in the Valley. We'll talk about all that on this Sunday's episode of Ring Post Radio. But until then, we'll talk to you all later. Talk to you guys. Bye.